So now we're going to look at placing ceilings in our building. So when we've been building our model on, say, the ground floor, we've been using the ground floor plan in our project browser. To create our ceilings, we should toggle over to our seating plans, expand the seating plans, and there we have our ground, first, and roof plan. So if we double click to open up our ground floor plan, and the ceilings ground floor plan is simply the actual ground floor plus 2,600 by default above. So our ceilings, when we draw our actual ceilings on the plan, they'll automatically be placed at 2,600 above the ground floor level. We can obviously adjust this after we've placed it. So to place the ceiling, we go to our ceiling tool. And here in the contextual tab, we have two options, one being automatic ceiling. The second is sketch ceiling. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our type selector and change over our ceiling type to a 600 by 600 grid. Here in the property section, in the constraints, you can see the level we're working on is ground level and our height offset is 2,600. So in there is where we can now change the height of our ceiling. Again, we can do that after we've placed it. At first, we're going to start off using the automatic ceiling, and then afterwards, we're going to use the sketch ceiling where we cannot place the automatic ceiling. I'm going to select my automatic ceiling, zoom in here to the left-hand side of the building. When I place the cursor inside the room, you'll see that there is a solid red line that's showing that I can now place that automatic ceiling without any issues. Same again for the right-hand side. If I now go for this small one on the left, you'll see that it's spilling inside the other room. And if I zoom in, you'll see an issue is with the architectural column. You can see that the red line is running around the inside of the room. Once it gets to the architectural column, it spills into the next room. So there's two ways we can get around this. One, we can either then go to use the sketch ceiling, or we can click the partition and pull it over to the external wall. And now when we go to use our automatic ceiling, we're able to place it. Then afterwards, just pulling back that partition. So again, with the automatic ceiling, again, if I'm going to use it in the lower end here, it's going to spit in. So what I can do now is I can show you how to use the sketch ceiling. So I'll just toggle over to the sketch ceiling. And again, because we're placing a boundary, we're inside the boundary editor where we've got a red X green tick. We have our draw panel here and our options bar. So we could use our line tool just to trace around the outside. We can also use our pick line tool or pick wall. Pick wall tool may or may not give us the right edge as well as the right boundary. So what I'll use here is the pick line tool and just select the lines around the boundary of the room. And then afterwards, we just need to do some tidying up because there's too many lines. And again, we must have that single closed loop. So use trim and extend. And there we have it. Just green tick to finish. Move up to the next room. Ceiling, again, try to place the automatic ceiling. And again, we've got an issue with the architectural columns, both here and here. So what I can do is I want to drag that over to the external wall. And then place the ceiling. And then drag them back. Again, just continuing on doing each one of the offices. Again, for the lower right hand room, again, you can see it's spilling in past that architectural column. So for this one, again, I'll use the sketch ceiling, use the pick lines, and run along the inside face of the room. And then trim to finish. So for the lobby, I don't want to place a ceiling in the entire lobby because remember that this here is an open area. So if we go to our ceiling sketch and we're going to run a ceiling underneath the walkway here, I'll just trace around it now with the line tool. So just running around the inner boundary. And for those curves, I'll use the pick line. And back to the line tool. So that there's our ceiling grid mapped out 600 by 600. And when it's placed, it will automatically center the ceiling grid, so automatically space both ends. If you want to adjust the position of the ceiling tracks, select one of them and we'll just use the arrow keys and we can shift them around. So if you wanted a 600 tile to be right down in the corner, you can use the move tool to shift it. Well, if you wanted all of the ceiling tracks to run through and be in the same position as the next room, we can use the align tool as well. So we'll select the align tool, select our reference line and what we want to move to it. So now if you want to go up to the first floor plan, and again, we'll put in the ceiling. So you can try automatic ceiling where you can. And where you can't, use the sketch. Again, you can open up the PDF 012 ceiling. And next, what we're going to do is go back down to the ground floor ceiling plan, and we're going to attach some light fixtures to the ceiling itself. To do so, we'll go to the build panel, select the component, and in the type selector there's some components already loaded, but we don't have the light fixtures loaded. So to go to the load family, go down to lighting, architectural, internal, and there we have all our different light fixtures. So as we place a ceiling, we're going to attach light fixtures that have been designed for the ceilings, like these two here. So the floor lamps will only attach to a floor, and so on. So the light that I want to insert is the troffer. This is down towards the end. Select open, and if I go to the type selector, there's our troffer. And what I want to use is the 600 by 600 and 4 lamps. It's just kind of your standard office light. And just roughly put it onto the grid. Once it's placed on the grid, I'm then going to use my move tool to place it more accurately. And then I'm going to copy it. Like so. So there we have a couple of light fixtures fitted. And as they're all attached to the ceiling grid themselves, again, if I just click on the grid itself, so any one of those grid lines, using my arrow keys, you can see I can shift the ceiling grid, and the lights, because they're fitted to that ceiling grid, will move with it. So I'll just continue on placing some more light fixtures around the building. Okay, so that should be our ground floor setup. Again, you can copy them up to the first floor by again using the same process we used before. So if we select one of the lights, you can now right click, go to select all instances in visible view. Then using the shift key, I can hold down shift, click and drag, and deselect all of the lights on the left hand side. And then copy to clipboard, and then paste it to the first floor. There we have our light fixtures on the first floor. For the lobby, what I'll do is I'll hang some pendant lights, which again are just in the library. So we'll go back to the component on the architecture tab. We'll go to load family, lighting, architectural, internal. And then we have 3 pendant lights. I'm going to use pendant light number 3. So with these, I'm just going to place some randomly. So all of these lights that we have placed in the drawing are actual active lights. And what that means is we can turn them on and off. So when we go to create 3D visual renders, we have full control over those lights. We also can control what color they emit, how many lumens, on wattage, so on. So just to give you a quick idea of that, what I'm going to do is go to my ground floor plan. I want to place a 3D camera. It's not something I'm going to go into much detail now. We will cover this in course. So there you can see in the quick render that each one of the lights are turned on. And there I'm able to control each one of those lights. So I can turn them on and off. I can dim them down and so on. It's not something we'll go into much detail now, but just purely just to give you an idea of why we place those lights.